The silver streak steamed quietly under the deep navy sky, its wheels clicking steadily against the cold steel tracks. The countryside outside was cloaked in shadows, trees lining the rails like silent sentinels watching the train pass. Inside the dimly lit rail car, a few weary passengers settled into their seats, tired from long days but too restless to sleep. Soft murmurs and the gentle rustle of newspapers filled the space, mingling with the steady hum of the engine. Among them sat Anna, a young journalist clutching a worn leather notebook. Her eyes scanned the faces around her, travelers wrapped in scarves, a couple whispering quietly, an old man staring out the window with distant eyes. She had taken this late-night train, hoping to uncover the truth behind the strange disappearances linked to this route. Tonight, she was determined to find answers. The conductor, Mr. Hargrove, a tall, serious man with a crisp uniform and sharp eyes, moved silently along the aisle, checking tickets and nodding curtly to passengers. As the train picked up speed, the rhythmic clatter of the wheels filled the car, blending with the occasional creak of the wooden walls. Anna leaned her head against the window, watching the dark landscape blur past, feeling a chill in the air that had nothing to do with the night's cold. Suddenly, a faint whisper seemed to drift from the far end of the rail car, barely audible but unmistakable. Anna's eyes snapped open. She wasn't alone. Anna's heart quickened as she strained to listen. The whisper was faint but unmistakable, a soft, breathy murmur that seemed to come from just beyond the locked door at the end of the rail car. She glanced around. The other passengers were absorbed in their own worlds, eyes closed or fixed on their phones. No one else seemed to hear it. Curiosity pulling her forward, Anna rose slowly from her seat, her footsteps soft on the worn carpet. The closer she got to the door, the clearer the whispers became, swirling together like fragmented voices tangled in a secret conversation. She reached out and touched the cold wood of the door, her skin tingling with an icy chill. Leaning in, she pressed her ear against it. The whispers stopped. Anna straightened, puzzled. Had she imagined it? She looked back at the other passengers, still unaware, still silent. Then the whisper returned, clearer this time, almost forming words.
"Help us!" A shiver ran down Anna's spine. The locked door wasn't just a barrier, it was a threshold. Something was trapped behind it. Anna stood in front of the door, her breath visible in the sudden chill that had filled the rail car. The wood was old and smooth, with a small, ornate brass handle that gleamed faintly in the dim light. She tugged gently, but the door wouldn't budge. It was locked tight, as if sealed for decades. A soft shuffle behind her made Anna turn. The conductor, Mr. Hargrove, stood silently, his face shadowed but serious. "That door hasn't been opened in years," he said quietly, his voice low and steady. "It's not part of the regular route, and no one knows what's inside anymore." Anna's curiosity flared. "Why? What's back there?" Mr. Hargrove shook his head. "Stories, ghosts. things best left alone. Anna pressed her ear against the door. The voices were there again. Whispers of laughter, crying, distant conversations, layered and overlapping like echoes trapped in time. Her hand trembled as she stepped back. The locked door wasn't just a mystery. It was a warning. The train rumbled on through the dark countryside, but Anna's thoughts stayed fixed on the locked door and those disembodied whispers trapped behind it. Back at her seat, Anna opened her leather-bound notebook, flipping through pages of her research. Newspaper clippings, scribbled notes, and photographs of passengers who had boarded this very train, but had never reached their destinations. Over the last 10 years, 12 people had vanished without a trace along this same stretch of track. All were last seen somewhere in or near this very railcar. No bodies, no belongings, no explanation. Anna's notes circled one recurring pattern. Each disappearance coincided with passengers reporting strange voices in the night, always from the last car. As Anna reviewed her notes, a chill crept through the cabin again. The other passengers had grown unusually silent, some glancing nervously toward the locked door at the end of the railcar. It was as if the train itself knew it was carrying more than just living passengers. And then, tap, tap, tap. Soft knocking from the other side of the door. This wasn't just a coincidence. The missing passengers, they were still here. Somewhere behind that door.
As the soft knocking faded into silence, Anna became aware of someone watching her. Across the aisle, seated in the corner where the shadows pooled deepest, sat a man she hadn't noticed before. His posture was too still, too composed for the gentle sway of the moving train. He wore a dark, outdated suit, buttoned neatly despite the warmth of the cabin. His face was pale with sharp features, but it was his eyes that drew Anna's breath short. Gray, almost colorless, with the dull sheen of sorrow, like someone carrying centuries of burdens. When Anna locked eyes with him, he offered a faint, knowing smile. He spoke softly. "You shouldn't listen to them." Anna blinked, confused. To who? He glanced at the locked door. Those who don't know they've already left this world. His voice was polite, but beneath it was a weariness, as if he had repeated this warning to others before her. "I'm sorry. Who are you?" He answered only with a name. Mr. Gray. Before she could press further, another tap, tap, tap echoed from the locked door, louder this time. The whispers rose, their words tangled, desperate. "Don't leave us here!" Mr. Gray stood, his coat hanging heavily around his thin frame. "Whatever you do, miss, don't open that door. Not unless you're ready to follow them." As quickly as he had appeared, Mr. Gray turned and walked toward the far end of the car, disappearing behind a curtain separating compartments. Anna stood frozen. The train wasn't just carrying passengers, it was carrying their unfinished stories, trapped between destinations. And she had just met one of them. The silver streak thundered deeper into the wilderness, its whistle echoing over silent hills. Inside the railcar, the whispers behind the locked door intensified, no longer faint, but rising into distinct, overlapping voices. Anna sat motionless in her seat, notebook still in her lap, her knuckles white around its edges. "Please, help us. Where are we going? It's so cold I can't remember." Men, women, children, dozens of voices, all trapped in that single forgotten rail car. The overhead lamps began to flicker, casting long, stretching shadows that seemed to move even when nothing else did. The once warm cabin temperature dropped sharply, and fog, thin, curling tendrils of it, began creeping in from the floor beneath the locked door. Other passengers started to notice now. One elderly woman crossed herself and whispered a prayer. A man near the front stood up alarmed, but Mr. Hargrove reappeared and gently urged him back into his seat with a single warning glance. Anna stood slowly, feeling that same invisible pull toward the door. Suddenly, bang!
A loud thud from behind the door made several passengers cry out. The fog thickened, swirling upward like breath on a winter night. Anna looked down the aisle and saw something impossible. A handprint pressed from the inside of the fogged glass window on the locked door. Thin fingers, pale as bone. The whispers merged into one anguished cry. "Let us out!" Anna's heart pounded as she realized they didn't just want to be heard. They wanted to be free. And someone, might just be strong enough to open that door soon. The train jolted slightly, as if passing over uneven tracks. But Anna barely noticed. Her focus was locked on the fog swirling beneath the locked door and that pale, desperate handprint pressed against the glass. The other passengers were whispering now too, not the trapped souls, but the living. Fear crept among them like smoke, curling around every face. Eyes darted between Anna and the sealed door as if expecting someone, anyone, to do something. That's when Mr. Gray appeared again, stepping silently out from the curtain at the far end of the car. His presence seemed to dim the lights, like the very shadows obeyed him. "They don't know they're dead," he said softly, almost sadly. "That's the cruelest part." Anna swallowed hard. "Who are they?" "Passengers. From another time. Another accident. Long before you or I." He glanced toward the door. "They board this train again and again, always waiting to arrive. But their journey never ends." Anna felt sick. Why now? Why are they reaching out tonight? Mr. Gray's eyes met hers. "Because someone on this train is about to join them." The fog thickened, swirling upward around the brass handle of the door. Suddenly, Anna remembered something in her research, a forgotten wreck, decades ago, on this very route, a collision between two trains in a dense fog. Most of the victims were never found, their bodies lost in the ravine below. No wonder the voices were confused. They didn't know they were gone. And now, with the barrier between worlds weakening, they were reaching out to the living, hoping for release, or
Company. The train groaned, lights flickering wildly. The whispers built to a fevered, desperate pitch. "Don't leave us!" Mr. Gray stepped closer to the door, his voice colder now. "If that door opens, none of you will leave this train." Anna took a breath, realizing the horrible truth. This wasn't just a haunted train. It was a trap. The silver streak barreled forward into a night that no longer looked familiar. Outside the windows, the countryside was gone, replaced by endless swirling mist, broken only by faint flashes of pale blue light, as though the train was slipping into some forgotten corner of reality. The whispers from behind the door had become screams. Anna could see their shapes now, figures pressing against the glass from the other side, faces blurred by fog, mouths opening and closing in endless pleas for help, hands slapping gently, rhythmically, like waves on a distant shore. The brass handle on the door jiggled. Something, or someone, on the other side was trying to open it. "We have to stop this," Anna gasped, turning to Mr. Gray. But Mr. Gray's face was pale with something between sadness and resolve. "They're stronger tonight. The veil between this world and the next is thin, weaker than it's been in years." Anna wasn't ready to let the dead claim the living. Remembering the conductor's office up ahead, she dashed through the swaying rail cars, stumbling as the floor seemed to shift beneath her. In the small, cluttered room behind the conductor's seat, she found it. A small iron emergency release key, once used to unlock sealed compartments. As she grabbed it, bang! A powerful thud from behind the locked railcar echoed through the train, making the other passengers cry out in terror. Fog poured freely now through gaps in the old doorframe. Anna ran back, key clutched tightly. Mr. Gray was standing between the door and the other passengers, like a lone figure guarding a collapsing dam. Anna raised the key, but hesitated. The voices weren't begging anymore. They were commanding. "Open the door." "No," Mr. Gray whispered, his voice barely audible over the roar of voices. "This train, too. And if that door opened, the living might never leave behind." The locked door rattled violently, shaking on its hinges. The entire railcar seemed to tremble under the weight of the unseen passengers clawing to break through from the other side. The fog was everywhere now, swirling up past the seats, curling around the passengers' ankles, creeping up their legs like icy vines. Fear gripped everyone's faces. Some whispered prayers, others clutched one another, frozen in place by dread. Anna gripped the emergency release key tightly, her heart pounding. Every part of her screamed to open the door, to help the desperate voices crying for release. But then she saw something that froze her in place. Through the swirling mist on the glass, the faces of the lost were changing. Their sorrowful expressions twisted into something darker. Their mouths opened wide, not in pleading, but in grins, thin and sharp. They weren't asking for help anymore. They were inviting the living to join them. Anna's breath caught in her throat. A trap. All of it. Before she could react, a sharp voice echoed over the rising storm of whispers. "Back." Mr. Hargrove stood firm at the center of the railcar, a small leather-bound book open in his hands. His usually stoic expression was now fierce, determined. His voice rang out in a chant, not modern words, but old, guttural syllables in a language Anna didn't recognize. The fog recoiled instantly, curling back from the door, and the violent shaking began to subside. The door's glass window cracked,
but it did not shatter. Mr. Gray stepped forward, his pale eyes locked on Anna. Now you know why I ride this train. He wasn't just another passenger. He was a watcher, tasked with keeping the balance. Anna lowered the key, breathless. One final furious scream erupted from behind the door, shaking the very walls of the car. "Stay with us!" But the locked door held. And then, silence. The fog thinned, the whispers faded, and the train rumbled on into the night, like nothing had happened at all.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next one. Bye for now.